day before we have about a week, a little bit over a week of cloud and rain and suck. So we rented a tiller the other day to try and get everything tilled before it gets really bad, as well as I really want to get my radish, lettuce, kale, peas, all my cold weather stuff in the ground ASAP. So we rented a tiller and we got a couple gardens built, and I thought I'd give you guys an update on where we are and what we got going on over here. So we have tilled the area where we're going to be planting the vegetables. I already got my asparagus that I brought with me from Oshawa here. You can see it survived. We got some spears growing. I have a couple started from their seeds in case they didn't survive that I'm going to plant as well over here. And there is a red asparagus that I bought, again, in case these didn't survive, planted right there. And we'll see what happens with that one. Update. My cousin was over yesterday and giving me some tips and helping me identify some stuff. I got an elderberry tree, bush thing. You call it a tree or a bush? Either way, I got elderberry there. So I'm super excited about that. It's a little small one. It looks like it's had some damage. I know there was one big branch broken off from the ice storm we had shortly after we moved in. So it's already growing leaves, so I'm not going to be able to plant any shoots or anything off it now. But if anything breaks during the season, I'm going to try and get it in the ground, get them rooted. And then next spring, I might cut a few pieces off and spread it out so I can get a bigger elderberry section going there. Right now, it's also about 11:30, so the sun's not completely highest. But I can kind of see that one big tree right there is going to be casting a shadow there until the sun's directly above. And I got one down there too. Luckily, that one I think is being caused by that. There's a bunch of trees that are being taken down by some wild vines, so I might actually end up cutting those out. But because I got the trees there and the shade over there, all of this trellis fencing, I'm going to yank, and it's going to go along the wall there, right against the pine trees, because that section's probably going to get the most shade. And that's where I'm going to get my my peas are going to go on there, and then I'll try and group together all my other cold happy plants down at that end, and then work down this way. We're also going to be building a trellis for the cucumbers and beans, just like a little A-frame out of some sticks, put some chicken wire on it so the vines have something to grab onto. So that'll be done there. Yesterday I did also kind of mark out the sections of a 4-foot bed, 3-foot walk path, 4-foot bed, 3-foot walk path all the way down. So I have 8 beds, with the 8th bed basically just being this big kind of open area here that we're just gonna chuck as many potatoes into as we possibly can, because we go through a ton of potatoes. And then where these fences are, I'm gonna plant a bunch of pollinator flowers. I've got some hyssop I'm gonna be planting as the years go by. I'm gonna get some more elderberry going along there. I might actually I was thinking about putting the hollyhocks over there, but I'm actually thinking I might put the hollyhocks that I have started over here, some yarrow, and a bunch of other pollinator happy plants. But that's gonna be looking pretty sweet. I did find, let's see if I can find it again, of these 3 patches. And I don't have my gloves on, so I'm not gonna touch them. But I think I bought seeds for stinging nettle to plant because I heard they're very nutritious and good for you. But I think I got some wild stuff happening here and here and here, and I got 2 more patches over there somewhere too. I don't have my gloves on to flip them over and look on the back side of the leaves, but it's looking pretty gosh darn similar to the stuff that my cousin had in her vid. So I'm pretty sure that's some wild nettle I got going on there. Let's not touch it and find out. So also another funny mystery that was solved. It came in, there's that trellis right there that has honeysuckle on both sides. The one honeysuckle is still good, that other one seems to have died. But it looked like maybe it just got damaged in a storm. And we were thinking about replacing it, but now we're not so sure we will. My cousin pointed out that the side of that trellis there, I don't know if you can see it, kind of the bottom, and that there, there's the other side of the trellis. That's got some clematis on it. So, new plan, that trellis panel on honeysuckle is going to get dug up. Honeysuckle is going to stay on it the way it is, and I'll kind of retrain some of them. And it's going to basically be moved and strapped to the other side of the house. So that side of the house over there, there's already a honeysuckle, so I know it'll do okay with the light that it has. And there's a trellis that has nothing on it on that side, so that is going to get moved and strapped onto the bare trellis over there. And the dead honeysuckle is going to go in a pot in the greenhouse, and I'm going to see if I can save it. Greenhouse. So these are some plants that are going to be outside. I've got some basil, some echinacea. I believe then I've also got my valerian root and another herb, lovage. And then these are also all my hot peppers and my okra. So since these are such hot weather loving plants, I actually think since they have a greenhouse at this place, these guys are going to stay in the greenhouse all year. So what I'm doing is hardening them off for the greenhouse. So they'll sit out here for a little bit, and then I'll pull them back into the greenhouse in the house, let them relax, pull them out here for a little bit so they can adjust to the temperatures. I finally have my cherries. So I picked those up from local Canadian Tire in, well, it wasn't local, like the Kemptville Canadian Tire. So a little bit of a drive, but not too far. And so those are going to go on the front lawn. With some strawberry plants I'm going to be getting. I've got a 40-foot by 40-foot area that's just going to be completely open once we get rid of some evergreens on it. And that's just going to be fruits and berries and stuff. I'm finally going to have my sensation lilac. This is the lilac I've been looking for. I had a hell of a time finding it in Oshawa without having to go to like a specialty nursery. I could only find plain purple ones. But you can find lilacs everywhere out here. And my cousin found this at, guess what? The Kemptville Canadian Tire. And even though they're priced at $12.99, they rang up at like half price. So even though I only intended to get one, I may have bought two. I haven't figured out where that one's going to go yet, but it will have a home. And then these are some lemon plants that a local person in the gardeners group, or actually it might have been my cousin's neighbor, was splitting and getting rid of. So more lemon balm. Yay, mosquito repelling stuff. That's going to be in the front yard. So that's going to be the trim around the front. And it is a nice and toasty with the door cracked open, 30 degrees Celsius and 44% humidity in here, which is actually surprising. It's normally sitting around 70 to 80, but it's a little dry and toasty in here today. On the back deck, I'm hardening off my herbs here. So these were some stacked planters. One stacked planter is going to be all culinary herbs. The other one will become lettuce. I was originally going to make it all mints and things like that. Like, so this has chocolate mint, mojito mint, catnip, and common mint, and then lavender and lemon balm on the top. But I'm going to just make sure these guys are happy and then plant them on the front garden. So I've kind of got a tea garden going on there. It'll be all these mints, some chamomile, some plantain. I'm going to get some jewelweed seed at the end of the season for some jewelweed, and just kind of have some handy herbs over there. And then this will actually be replanted with different types of leaf lettuces. And I'm also hardening off my peas. So I've got snow peas, sugar peas, and shelling peas. And I started them in the greenhouse a while ago, so they're starting to look happy. Some of them seem to sprout better than others, but we're going to go plant them in the garden after they're a little happier being outside, coming from the greenhouse outside, so that'll be a little while. So they will actually probably get put in the ground after my carrots, kale, radish, and things like that, because I can get that garden with the fabric set up, ready to go and stuff, starting to plant and labeling that while these guys harden off, and then I just need to plop them in the ground when I've got the trellis over there. So the mysterious found gardens are slowly clearing up. We sold a bunch of the trees. Still got these guys right here that we'll need to get rid of, and those ones in there. Depending on, like, I've already seen some, not necessarily fiddleheads, but ferns coming up in there. So depending on what comes up this spring, I might just turn that kind of area there into ramps and fiddleheads. So they're near the house and I don't have to forage deep in the bush, because we actually haven't found any ostrich ferns or ramps on our property when we trek through the bush. So luckily, my uncle has a ton of ramps on his property, so I might migrate some of them from Newtonville to this area and get them in there. This area here, you can see we're starting to get some green in. I'm going to start seeing what's coming in. I've definitely got some wild berries mixed in there, and I did find a couple plant tags. The path that we found in here starting to be a lot more visible there. Just got a couple like tree seedlings we've got to clean up. You can see now without those trees it's a lot more open. And I have started kind of at this back end here that was basically they're being used as the dump pile. You can see I've got some red plants there based from a tag that was on one of them. I'm 99% sure it's some red dogwood. That looks like it's been unattended to, so I'm going to see how healthy it looks when it comes in. Might need to do a hard prune on it this year, early next spring to kind of revive the plant. And then we're going to kind of see what's going on here. I've got some periwinkle that was in here that looks a little unhappy, so I might save those guys. I might dig them up and put them over on the garden on the other side that I'll show you guys. There's also some kind of garden going on here. We've got some succulents in there, some irises over there. So with a little bit of time, we will be cleaning this out. I got some wild raspberries there, but we'll slowly pick away at clearing this out to make it a little bit nicer and happier. And again, when the leaves come in and we kind of see what's in here, see what possibly we can add to it or move or anything like that, because it looks like this kind of went in here and then those red dogwoods kind of skirt the edge there. I also applied for the area that I'm in. Every year you can apply for 5 free native plants, and it's a huge list of native plants that you pick from, and you pick your top 5, and then depending on how popular the plants are, you get 5 of hopefully you get 5 of one of your top 5. My top pick was a nannyberry bush. So if that does end up happening, I had a couple like flowering bushes, we might kind of see how stuff comes in here and get some flowering edging kind of just to fill that in and make it look a little happier. Get rid of these white pine trees. So it's still like a nice little area that you can walk through, but it's also not completely open to the road and the neighbors that are right across the road. In this area right here is our 40 by 40 area that's going to be fruits and berries. Those trees are going to be gone. And then just because of the way the sun goes, we're going to have shortest to tallest going across with some stuff in between. So the strawberries and cherries are going to end up being set up over here. Cherry bushes, will have a guild built around them, so chives and things like that. And then progressively work our way down. I'm hoping to get Saskatoon berries and peaches, but we will see how much space we have, what light we have come the summer when the trees come in, and go from there. Okay, last areas we tilled. That tree's going to be going because he looks very, very unhappy. We're hoping this tree might get a little happier. We tilled around our flag here. We're going to get a second flag pole, kind of go over here. And then I'm hoping to get this filled with some tulips that we got from the Tulip Festival last year. I've got a mix of red and white and orange and a couple pink and purple. The pink and purple I might actually put up at the front of the house or with the lilac bush. And then the reds and oranges, because it's a Dutch flag and we'll have a Canada flag, will go in here. However, I'm discovering that squirrels like to eat the heads off of all the tulips we have. So I might actually resort in this garden to my security system I had in Oshawa, which was a belly and plastic forks, pointy end up around there to help protect them. My cousin also gave me some tips about burying them really deep and burying them wrapped in chicken wire so the bulb can grow through the chicken wire, but the squirrels can't get to the bulb. And then mixing in some like ornamental onions and stuff like that. So that will be coming in like September, October. This whole big area has been tilled now too. I just got to figure out what we're going to want in it because obviously in the spring There's no leaves, it's bright and sunny, so I can have sun-loving spring flowers here. But I don't know how much light it's gonna have come the summer and fall when the leaves come in. Because right now the sun's pretty gosh darn straight up in the air there. So it looks like because of the way the shadows are casting, you might still get some light here in the front. But then the rest might end up being shade, and then the sun sets over there. And this right here is going to be my lovely lilac garden, because that's my office window, so I'll get to see my beautiful lilac right there. Haven't completely figured out what I'm going to be planting with it. Like I said, the pink and purple tulips might end up with it. I'm definitely going to move some of the daffodils into here. But it's going to basically be like blues and purples and yellows and oranges. And I'm probably going to get some grape hyacinth for around the edges too. I'll probably round it out. But just because we tilled it, it's square. But I might round out the edges a little bit there. So that gets rid of a bunch of lawn from my husband mowing. And the second lilac, again, haven't really figured that out if I just kind of plop her down somewhere. One suggestion was to put her over there between the alder trees and just let her spread. So I'll have a hedge of alder and lilac, which also wouldn't be a bad idea. If I do go that route, I might want to get another, like a third and fourth then, so it can kind of stagger like alder, lilac, alder, lilac, alder, lilac. I just know I want one right here, right outside my window. And that is your current update. Next one will probably have a little bit more cleared out of the found garden over on the side. Hopefully get some stuff planted. I know the weather's supposed to be kind of sucky next week, but I'm hoping maybe one day it'll just be cloudy. And I can put on my bug shirt, get out there and get my cold weather stuff in the ground planted.